freedom lovers around the world to stop living in denial. Chinese-style net censorship and beyond is now being openly and incrementally deployed across the planet. We have had Cass Sunstein, the White House regulations czar, come out and say they want to, quote, ban conspiracy theories, make you get a license to be able to have a website. The Italian government has already implemented this. The Australian government is implementing it and putting in total net filtering, banning websites like WikiLeaks. Major ISPs around the world have been banning Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, my sites. It's incredible. And the public isn't very savvy about the technical things that are involved here. For instance, several New Zealand publications reported, and I got hundreds of emails from people in Australia and New Zealand in the last week saying that most major ISPs were blocking getting to Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Then I got emails saying, well, wait a minute, I'm in Australia or New Zealand, I can still get it. Yes, on your ISP, but some of the biggest were blocking us. And there are public statements put out by them that indeed we were blocked. But because of public outcry, we are now not blocked. The Australian government is saying they will just add to a list whoever they want, or if anyone ever complains about a site. No judge, no jury, no due process. Your site is banned. Domestic sites in Australia are being banned. They're making people now register with the government to be able to have a site that criticizes politicians. This is in the news. This is happening. 2 weeks ago, Bill Gates came out and said, I support China in their censorship. Now, China mainly uses web filtering. Even more abusive and draconian in the United States, we have the head technology officer at Microsoft and others at Davos and UN meetings agreeing with the UN and saying we want all Americans, all Brits and all Canadians to have to sign in with a net ID, preferably via a biometric. They're openly proposing that this now happen. On top of that, I happen to have the cybersecurity bill that passed the House of Representatives almost overwhelming. There were just a few votes against it, and it's moving on to the Senate. And I challenge people to go read this bill for yourself. It recruits high schoolers and college students to join Homeland Security. The Pentagon admits that they now are hiring tens of thousands of bloggers to counter disinformation on American blogs. They say they may target. There was an Air Force a few months ago talked about killing American journalists in country. Even the smallest IT provider will have to put in the software and government snooping hubs where everything is recorded by the government, everything's controlled. These indexes of thousands of websites that are banned have to be installed at the local ISP level, even in small towns. Under these different blacklists, we are included, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, all over the country and all over Europe and many other areas of the world. We have been sent countless screenshots of Cox Communications, Time Warner, you name it. ISPs in England, we've written articles and put links to their statements going back 4 years saying this is objectionable material. And there's really 4 ways they flag. They say porn, or they say hate, or they say gambling, or illegal activity. And they normally use hate for us. Now, even if you think what we're saying is hateful, shouldn't there be the free speech? Shouldn't you have the decision to go to Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com? The truth is, we have some of the most banned sites worldwide because we are effective. We cover the real issues. And so it's not just universities and law enforcement centers and public schools and corporations that are now banning us. We've got a list on PrisonPlanet.com in an article that Paul Watson wrote titled Frightening Taste of Internet Censorship as Major Free Speech Website Blocked. In Watson's article, we have links where major transportation hubs in the EU and in England that are supposedly free internet, that's taxpayer paid for, and Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com is blocked. So we have been put in these databases fraudulently to be blocked, and you shouldn't put up with it. You should complain. You should say no. You should call your ISP, tell them you're going to move on to somebody else if they continue this. Because if we allow this incremental implementation of Chinese-style net censorship, obviously it's going to hurt our society. Every time they attempt to incrementally restrict the internet and the free flow of information, we need to stand up and say no. And we need to stand up to Time Magazine and the New York Times and countless other mainstream publications that have all called in the last month for a net ID to be able to get online, who've called for internet taxes, who've called for taxes and regulation on talk radio, because they can't just ignore the internet. They can't fund COINTELPRO and Pentagon disinformation to have us all infight with each other. They've done all that, and it's not working.